to episode 108 of the Trading Without Borders podcast with Omobi, your host. Sincere apologies. I did not release an episode last week. I was tired and I had to get some rest. Just apologies about that. So let's move on to today's episode. In episode 107, I started discussions on the African Development Bank Group, AfDB, the 10-year strategy that was released some few weeks ago. And I touched on the I5 priorities of the bank, and I also mentioned that those I5 priorities represent the most pressing investment needs of the bank, and of course the priorities of the regional member countries. That's the African countries. So in the strategy covers 2024 to 2033. So this I5 priorities, the bank has made some progress in the past decade. So for this strategy, what the bank intends to do is to scale up and accelerate the I5 priorities. So let's look at them. I'm going to talk about the first one today, then we'll discuss the subsequent ones the other ones in subsequent episodes. To refresh our mind, the I5 priorities are 1. Light up and power Africa, 2. Feed Africa, 3. Industrialize Africa, 4. Integrate Africa, and 5. Improve the quality of life for the people of Africa. So for today, I will discuss the Light Up and Power Africa. Then we'll move on to Feed Africa in the next episode. Okay, the 2033 ambition under the Light Up and Power Africa is to have affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy for all households and firms in Africa. That's the ambition. Then access to electricity for all and clean cooking solutions and technology. And the report notes, of course, that when there's more reliable and affordable power, this will enable Africa's firms and agricultural producers to create more jobs, to grow, and to also enhance food security. And there's also an ambition for a low carbon development pathway that will be established. So let's go into the opportunities and challenges. The report notes that to achieve electricity access for all by 2033, the opportunity is it's in connecting more than 600 million households by 2033. And of course, that will require a threefold increase in the current annualized new connections to electricity to 90 million. And half of this will be provided through off-grid solutions. So that's one area of opportunity for those that are interested. Off-grid solutions to connect to 90 million annually. Connection to electricity. For off-grid solutions, that means more new generation capacity will be from renewables, and Africa is set to host the world's best renewable energy potential. So that's one area you need to look at. And another opportunity is also achieving universal access. So to achieve universal access, there's also be a need to double the current rate of investment to around $190 billion per year through to 2030. And for this to happen, that means there will be needs for a significant transformation across power sector in Africa. And it's also been noted that most of the utilities in sub-Saharan Africa, they are unable to cover their operating costs due to inefficiency, inadequate governance, high operating costs, system losses, suboptimal pricing, poor revenue collection, and of course this has led to a growing debt burden. For Africa to achieve universal access, there has to be substantial transformation of utilities companies. They need to undergo to improve their performance and ensure their financial viability. And finally, to achieve universal access for clean cooking by 2030 also means that more than 1 billion people have to be provided with clean cooking solutions and technology. And this is, of course, will address gender inequality and of course help to reduce exposure of African women and children to harmful effects of cooking with biomass while slowing down deforestation and reducing greenhouse gas emissions. So what are the bank's priorities out of these opportunities and challenges I've discussed? I highlighted above. So one of it is accelerating regional member countries' access to universal, reliable, affordable, modern energy, and this includes electricity and clean cooking solution. Then number 2, developing socially, economically, and environmentally sustainable energy sectors. So of course, we did to transform the utility companies. That will come under this. Then entrenching a low carbon development pathway, thereby enhancing green growth while enhancing energy security. I mentioned earlier about the low carbon development pathway, and strengthening the sustainability of power sectors and utilities and enhancing energy efficiency. That also covers that discussed on the opportunities. And finally, building robust intra and interregional power systems that will underpin the development of an interconnected continental power grid, linking existing power pools, facilitating the establishment of an African single electricity market. This is a huge ambition. I know quite a number of people are like, oh, really? An African single? Quite interesting, and it would be good to just follow this through and see how that pans out. But these are areas that have been highlighted. These are investments. This is investment focus of the African Development Bank. So, to anyone interested in investing in Africa, these are areas that we need to start looking at. So I'll just stop here for today. Next week we will move to Feed Africa. And as usual, the podcast is just for educational purposes only, not to be regarded as an expert advice. But if you need to discuss more about expanding your operations, your business into Africa, you want to discuss how you can get support in doing that and connecting you with partners across Africa, you can reach out to me. My name is Omobola Adekola on LinkedIn. You can also send a message via the podcast platform. And until next week, I say to you, bye-bye.